Dear children, I hope you all are fine. I'm quite glad to know that the two previous videos, which I did as a part of our revision for the first year improvement exam, that you found it to be quite useful. So, the unit which I'm going to take up today is The Trip of La Horla by the French short story writer, renowned French short story writer, Guy de Maupassant. It's a travel essay actually about an adventurous hot air balloon ride which Maupassant and his friends had. When the essay begins, we are told that Guy de Maupassant gets a letter from Captain Jervis, the leader of the journey, asking him to report at the gas works of La Valette from where they are planning to start their journey. And when he arrives at 5 o'clock on the spot where they are planning from where they are planning to start the journey, he finds the balloon cloth lying on the courtyard like a piece of yellow cake, huge very lengthy cloth lying on the floor like a yellow cake. And around 300 people have gathered over there to watch the setting up of the balloon, because this is going to be a historical ride. This particular balloon ride is going to be a historical ride, and the excitement is at its height. And he also finds the square basket to carry the human cargo, which has to be later attached to the balloon. And the name of the balloon, Lehola, is written on a mahogany plate attached to the square basket. And the author describes how the air is being pumped into the balloon, and how the balloon gets swelled up, and how it wriggles on the flow, as if it's an enormous worm. And looking at the air balloon swelling up, author makes another comparison, a very interesting sort of a comparison, that is, it is how nature itself nourishes its beings. Just like how a baby grows in a mother's womb, the balloon gets puffed up. And the people who have gathered over there are making all sorts of guesswork, speculations about the journey. Some are saying that maybe the balloon will not have a safe landing, maybe it will not reach the destination. All sorts of comments are being made by the people standing over there, and the passengers are not affected by all these sort of comments. They are so excited about the journey that they are about to embark on. And before starting their journey, they go to the canteen of the gas factory to have food. And once they come back, they're quite happy to know that the balloon has become quite enormous, and it is almost looking like a prodigious golden fruit, very impressive golden fruit, golden pear across the background of the sunset. And all the balloon is being attached to the square basket, and all the essential things are being put inside the basket. For example, the ballast, barometer to check the air pressure, then trumpets, eateries, all these things, their raincoats, and things like that are being put inside the basket. And the passengers who are going to embark on this journey are, of course, Captain Jervis, Guy de Maupassant, Lieutenant Mallet, Paul Buzzard, Eterine Bear, and there was also one man, Patrice Iris. But unfortunately, when they all got inside the balloon, they found that the balloon, in the basket was too heavy, that balloon was not lifting up. So one person had to get out, and unfortunately, Patrice Iris was the one who had to get out. So he gets out of the balloon with a heavy heart. And the balloon is being tied to the ground with a rope, and the rope is being cut by the master of the ceremony, Messier Joliet. And then the balloon, once a rope is cut, the balloon is given its liberty. Amidst the loud cheer of the crowd standing on the ground, Lehola goes skyward, and the passengers are so excited. They feel as if they are floating in the sky. They see, when they from the balloon, when they look down, they're able to see the city of Paris. It appears like a bluish patch to them. The domes, steeples, and towers of several buildings could be seen. A vast stretch of green fields, dark woods, everything could be seen. And they could hear the sound of children shouting. They could hear the sound of wheels on road. They could hear the loud shouts of drivers, the sound of a whip. Even small noises could be heard. And they also could hear the cries of animals, the barking of the dogs and mewing of the cats and all that. And animals seemed to be disturbed by this aerial monster in the sky. And Lieutenant Malley is the one who was in the aerial net between the basket and the balloon, and he is the one who is giving instructions to the other passengers to throw ballast out. Ballast is small articles like thin pieces of paper, water, or sand, or small pieces of thin pieces of metal, which are thrown outside the basket, out of the basket, to maneuver or to control the flight of the balloon. If the ballast is going down, it means that the balloon is going up, and if the ballast is going up, it means that the balloon is going down. So it's quite easy for them to maneuver the balloon. Balloon appears to them as an enormous toy which can be controlled. The flight of the balloon can be controlled easily by them. So for them, balloon is almost like a toy, and that's why it has been described as a free toy. And it has also been described as a slave of the wind, because wind decides the direction in which the balloon goes. After some time, they reach around 2,000 feet, and they are able to see the moon in the sky, and the moon appears like another balloon to them, and they are so mesmerized by the sight of the balloon in the sky, they stand transfixed. They're not able to move at all. It's a kind of it's a mix of feelings, pleasure as well as they're not able to move. So the author calls that state of mind as delicious inertia, which is an instance, of course, of transferred epithet as well as oxymoron. Why oxymoron? Delicious is a positive word, and inertia, inaction, that has got a negative connotation. So two words, opposite words are coming together, and that is why it is called as an oxymoron. It is also called as a transferred epithet because delicious is a word which is usually used along with food. And in this particular occasion, it is that particular word is transferred to this particular context, and that is why it is called as a transferred epithet. You need not bother about transferred epithet. If you are asked about the figure of speech, it is better to write oxymoron. I'm just for the information I'm telling you, it is a transferred epithet. So the sight of the moon excites them so much that they are not able to move. They stand there in the basket transfixed, unable to move at the beauty of what they are seeing. It becomes an unforgettable experience for all the passengers in the balloon, because they feel as if they are a wandering, traveling world, cut off from the earth, completely cut off from the earth as such. They feel as if they have lost all their ties with the earth. They have completely forgotten about their life on earth. They feel as if they are another planet in the sky. So it is a kind of a magical feeling which they have. And now they have reached around 2,350 feet, and suddenly they realize that the balloon has stopped. It is not going up anymore. It has reached its maximum height. Then it is coming down. It's coming down with great rapidity, and they try to throw more ballast out, but of no avail because the balloon has started its return journey. And after some time, they see the shadow of the balloon on the ground. At first, the shadow appears to them like a dog jumping from one field to another, and on the way they come across a storm also, and guiding Upasan realizes that perhaps they are being caught in a storm, and on hearing that, Captain Jervis tries to cover it up by saying that it is not the sound of a storm, it is just the sound of a waterfall, because he does not want the other passengers to get panicked. and the balloon, is on its return journey, and Lieutenant Malley is given the task of loosening the rope that has been tied to the escape valve, which has been kept religiously enclosed in a bag, a white bag in the basket, and he is given the task of loosening the a rope, and the balloon. Captain Jovis is looking for a favorable place to land, and they are almost landing on some place in the Belgian frontier, and it lands on a field. It's an area where lots of Belgian peasants live, and all the animals around that area, they become completely disturbed. They are running wild here and there. The birds are running wild here and there on seeing this monster coming down, because they're not able to understand. Initially, they were not able to understand what was actually happening. Such an enormous thing is coming down, but later on they realize what is happening, and the peasants come out to help the passengers. Once the balloon has settled down with a thud, they come around, they help them pack their things and all that, and after everything is packed, they begin their return journey. That's all. Now let's have a look at the questions which have come from this particular unit over the years in the question paper. First, let's go through the short questions. Questions which might come for 1 or 2 marks. For example, what is a balloon compared to? Balloon is being compared to a piece of yellow cake while it was lying on the floor. Then what is the comparison which the poet makes when the balloon gets swelled up? For example, the swelled up balloon is being compared to a prodigious golden fruit, a golden pear, under the reflection of the sun. And when the balloon gets swelled up, the thought which comes to the mind of the author is how nature itself nourishes its young ones. Then another question which can come is, you might be asked to write about how the author describes this city of Paris. How does city of Paris appear to them from the sky? How it appears like a bluish patch, and how the domes, steeples, and towers of the buildings could be seen. The vast stretches of green fields, dark woods, long roads, etc., could be seen. Another question which can come as, why is a balloon described as a free toy? Because by throwing the ballast out of the balloon, you can control the flight of the balloon. If the ballast goes down, it means that the balloon is going up, and if the ballast is going up, it means that the balloon is coming down. So it's quite easy to control the flight of the balloon, and that's why it is called as a free toy. It appears to them as a toy. Now, why is it been described as a slave of the wind? Because wind decides the direction in which the balloon goes. Then comment on the expression losing its invisible blood. When a current of warm air reaches a balloon, some gas escapes out of the escape valve, and that has been described as the invisible blood. Just as how the flow of blood keeps us alive, similarly it is a gas which keeps the balloon alive. It cannot be seen also. So you can explain that. Then another question which might come would be, you might be asked to explain the phrase delicious inertia and what is the figure of speech and all that. That particular phrase was used while describing the feeling which the passengers had when they saw the moon across the sky, and how the moon appeared to them as another balloon and all that. And it was a kind of mixed feeling. It was a kind of it was a feeling of pleasure, as well as they were not able to move at all. They stood transfixed. So they were happy, at the same time they were not able to move an inch from where they were. So that is why it has been described as a delicious inertia. Since we are using two words with opposite connotations, it could be considered as an typical example of oxymoron. And another question which might come as, that is comment on the expression religiously enclosed. When is it being used? Because the rope to the escape valve is being kept inside a white bag, and it is kept in the basket so that everybody could see. It's kept at a place where everybody could see, that nobody will accidentally touch it. The escape valve, the rope to the escape valve is carefully enclosed in a white bag. So these are the short questions which might come. Now let's have a look at the long answers which have been asked. Several times you've been asked to write a travel essay about any of the favorite places that you have visited recently. And when you're writing that particular travel essay, you're supposed to write about all the experiences which you had, the various places which you visited, your experiences, the practical problems which you faced, whether that particular place had any sort of cultural importance, whether it had any sort of historical significance, whether it was of any educational purpose. So all these things, and the kind of people you met over there, the interactions which you had with those people over there. So all these could be explained in a travel essay. You can have conversations also in a travel essay. It is not necessary that you have to begin a travel essay from the point where you began the journey. You can begin the travel essay from any point of the journey, and then you can switch back and forth. You can there's no particular order as which you should write a travel essay. Okay. Then another question which has been frequently asked was to write a live TV report about the. You'll be asked to write a live TV report about the takeoff as well as the descent of Lehola. I have given you a sample of live TV report about the takeoff of Lehola, and we've also written about the descent of Lehola. So just like you are reporting as if you are seeing it, then and there itself, and you need to have all the excitement, that is being delivered when you see a live TV report. Beginning when you're beginning, you address the audience by saying, for example, like, "Good evening, this is correspondent Christina reporting from the gasworks of Lavalette. Today we are going to witness a historical event. An adventurous hot air balloon ride is going to embark from here today." And all the arrangements have been made for the balloon ride. As you can see how the balloon is getting ready for the ride. You can mention about how the air fills up the balloon. You can mention about the basket to carry human cargo that is set up over there. And you can mention about the excitement of the crowd. You can mention about the comments which they make. You can mention about how the balloon finally appears being swelled, and you can mention about the passengers who are going inside. All these things, or every minute detail which you see over there can be described. Similarly, while you're describing the descent of the balloon, you have to mention about how it was coming with great rapidity. Maybe you're a reporter standing there and you're witnessing this a descent. How you were not able to have a clear idea as to what is actually happening, and once you realized, how did the people over there respond, how did the animals, birds, everything respond to it. So all these things, all those minute details which you saw over there should be mentioned in a live TV report with a lot of excitement and sensationalism also, to catch the attention of the audience. And another question which was asked was, as a tourist guide, you are taking a group of foreigners to a beach near your locality, and you are asked to give a short introductory speech about the beach. Let's say you're taking a group of tourists, foreign tourists, to the Charai beach or the Foot Cushion beach or any beach near your place. You can talk about how it is one of the most sought after tourist spot in your locality. And you can mention about all the means of entertainment that are there in the beach. You can mention about the glorious sunset or sunrise which can be visible from that particular beach. You can mention about the vendors over there and the kind of souvenirs which they can pick up from the from these vendors. All those things you can mention. Okay. And then sometimes you might be asked to write other than the typical travel essay which you say. Sometimes you might be asked to write about your experience of a parachute ride and all that. I think that was asked only once. Very rarely only you get such unrealistic questions, because since you are not a person who is not used to you have no idea about the parachute ride and all that, it might be difficult for you to write. But the experience, the travel experience in the sky, how it is how it is actually, that we can get an experience of it from Lehola. Only thing is that the means of travel differs, or the rest everything is almost the same. You can give more importance to your experiences in the sky, how you felt when you jumped from the helicopter, how you felt as if you were floating in the sky, and all that. Okay, and how you are when you're landing, how you're looking for a safe place to land, how you want to unleash the belt, and all these things can be explained. Very rarely only you will get such questions. I think only once it has been asked. Okay, so don't get scared when you get questions like that. Use your imagination. Basically, you're writing about your experience of the ride. Okay. Then another question which was asked was announcement made by Captain Jovis before the descent of the balloon. How he asked everybody, all the passengers, to get ready for the descent. They have to hold on to the basket quite tightly. He can give instructions for them to throughout the ballast. He can ask them to be very careful, because the balloon will be, while coming down, it might be falling on the ground with a thud and all that, so they should not get themselves injured. And how they should help in packing everything. All these sort of things can be added. Then another question, you will be asked to write about to write a travel info. We have done lots of travel info last year. A travel info is not a very detailed description about a particular place. It's just a small description about how to reach a particular place, what are the major tourist attractions in that place, the major hotels or resorts in that area, the food specialities. You can mention about the cultural festivities, all these small details about the about a particular place. Okay, so that can be mentioned in a travel info. It need not be a very lengthy one. Then another question was a short introductory speech made by Captain Jovis before the journey. First of all, he would welcome the passengers. He would tell them how they are going to have an unforgettable experience, and he would give them proper instructions as to the things which they have to follow being in the balloon. And how the earth is going to look so beautiful from the skies, and all that, all those details, how they're all going to have a great time and all that. Then you will be asked to write about the character sketch of Captain Jovis. You can say that he is an example of an efficient and cool-headed captain. As any captain of an adventurous trip, he is quite calm and composed. And before the journey, he sends messengers to all the passengers to be there on the spot promptly on the day of the journey. And even when the balloon was being filled with gas, he stood there as a master of the situation, giving proper instructions to everybody. And he was the one who decided that Monsieur Mallet would get into the aerial net between the basket and the balloon. And when the balloon refuses to take off because when the basket is too heavy, and he's the one who decides that Patrice Harris will have to get out of the basket. And amidst the flight also, he showed his efficiency in maneuvering the flight of the balloon by giving instructions to Mallet promptly. And when Maupassant experienced, expressed his fear that a balloon is amidst a roaring storm, Jovis nudges him to keep quiet because he does not want other passengers to get panicked. And he just says that instead of a storm, he says that it is a sound of waterfall. And while during the descent also, he is the one who is giving instructions to Mallet to unleash the rope that is being tied to the escape valve. He asks everybody to be careful on landing. So Messier Mallet is in fact blindly following his instructions, and so that they could have a safe journey as envisaged by the captain. So he is definitely a cool-headed captain and a commanding personality, perfectly fit for becoming the captain of a trip. Then another question, you might be asked to write 4 questions to interview Captain Jovis. You can ask about his feelings about the trip. You can ask about the crew members. You can ask about the arrangements that he has made. You can ask about how he intends to maneuver the balloon and all that. And you might be asked to write questions to interview one of the passengers after the trip. Okay, you can ask about the experience which the passengers had, whether they have faced any difficulties during the trip. How did this Earth appear from the sky? All those things. Okay. Then short questions, of course, I told you, which can come. Well, that's all. These are the kinds of questions which you can get from this particular unit. We've discussed almost all the questions which has been asked over the years. I would like you to concentrate more on questions like live TV report about the takeoff and descent of Lehola, character sketch of Captain Jovis, and short questions like how why the balloon is being compared to a free toy, and then why is it called as a slave of the wind. So all these sort of short questions which I discussed initially, these short questions are basically the textual questions which are already there. So concentrate more on these sort of questions, and prepare to write a travel essay about any of the places that you have visited. That is one question which has been asked several times. So study well. That's all. Thank you.